Good evening, everyone. We are here for another Unplugged Live. I'm just waiting for my colleagues to join, and we're going to start as soon as possible. And we have
Good evening, Lionel.
Sergio.
Good
Good
evening,
evening.
everyone.
How are you?
Everything's fine. How's
Well,
things over
great.
there in Lisbon? In the Lisbon area, I
Well,
should say.
everything's moving. So, been on the road on the last few days, doing a lot of great stuff. And let's see if Gabriel is able to join. So, he should be here in a minute. But yes, things are moving. So been here, been doing some interesting tours. Went back to my signature tour with the artisans, and
Seen the
we are
pictures, it
moving.
looks amazing.
Yeah, it's great. Let me see. Gabriel is over here. Should be here in a minute. We hope. Let's see how these technicalities are going on today. But yes, these are the artisans that I've been tracking. The potter I've been visiting a few times. The basket maker been there just a couple of times, but it's something that it's starting to be promoted a little bit more. And I have a lot of other stuff on the on the move. And I think we have Gabriel. Good evening.
Hi,
Yep.
good
Everyone's here.
evening,
Good
everyone.
evening.
Here
Good
we
evening,
go.
guys.
So, how are you over there? Feeling good?
Oh, good around here.
Okay.
Another beautiful
That's great.
day, Monday blues, and
Yeah,
all
we're
good.
all
Yeah,
in,
well,
a,
it's
in
been
an excellent mood
it,
because today it felt like a summer day almost over here in Porto. The temperature got all the way up to 25 Celsius.
Yeah,
yes, I've seen those temperatures around here as well. Okay, so 25. I was
yeah.
on the roads this afternoon and
Well,
saw 25
you have
Celsius. So it's great.
you have warmer weather in Lisbon and Porto when the warm goes from south to north. So when we have these
Yeah.
Levante winds, that's when you have warm. But tomorrow it's gonna drop a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
good evening again. Good evening, everyone. I'm Leonel Rodrigues from Desirable Portugal Tours, based near Lisbon. With me, Gabriel Lima from GL Tours, the Great Large Tours in the Algarve, and Sergio Costa from Portugal EV Tours, based in Porto and the Douro Valley specialist. So we are here. We are back for another live. And due to some recent issues we've been having in the country, the recent storms and recent closures in monuments that are still not 100% solved. So Sintra still has some areas closed and very limited access to some of the parks. We wanted to discuss a little bit these issues about safety, about visiting certain places and being safe in some of those places. For example, right next to where I live, I drove a few times on that road during the night. And just a few hours ago, I drove the same roads during the day, and I realized that one of the trees fell, was right next to the road, but fell towards the field on next to it, and the roots are in fact kind of occupying a little bit of the road itself. So it's something that it's still happening here and there, and the tree seems to have fallen just a few days ago because the soil is still quite wet and soaked. So it's been a bit tricky. And in fact, where I live, I feel that I'm almost in an island because the major road have collapsed. The secondary road that was, partially having issues, it's now closed totally. So we are getting a little bit isolated in here. So we only get out of here by, a big detour or off-roading. And it's still taking a while until things go back on track. So I never seen a storm like this. I don't remember having ever seen a storm like this. I'm quite having some expectations to go back to Sintra's Mountain, but I also a little bit afraid of what I'm gonna find. And the fact is that, so I don't remember really having something like we just had, and well, hopefully this won't repeat for a long time. And in fact, these safety issues are quite a concern. So it's not only when the storm is going through, the aftermath sometimes, or the days after that, can be still a bit tricky. And one of the areas that can be very sensitive, it's the area that has cliffs, mainly based in the type of sandstone. So if you go further north, the rock is tendentially stiffer, harder. But in the sound, it's mostly sandstone. So I truly believe that the Algarve had been affected by some issues. And well, it might be still, or it might take a while until things go back on track. So I'm going to throw the ball to you, Gabriel, to pick up on this subject, because you, more than anyone over here, you'll know better what's going on over there, and what can be the best recommendations or the best advices for people to be careful with.
Yes, well, my best recommendations is always, we have to be very careful when we deal with nature, whether in the Algarve, in Utah, in New Zealand, whatever. We really need to pay attention, because when we are visiting things like rock formation, cliffs, beaches, the ocean, the Atlantic, we have to keep in mind that we are dealing with elements of nature, like the wind. We had this Martinho storm, the big one. We had a few, but and the wind, it really destroyed lots of stuff. I mean, so we have to be careful a lot, especially in winter when we have these storms. So, like you said, the land gets soaked, wet, heavy. That's when we have more rockfall here in the Algarve. Especially these rock formations made with limestone, sand. They are very easy to fall, and we had some rock fall. Some they were controlled, so the firefighter department, the authorities, they provoked the rock fall, but some others, the cliff just collapsed. Thank God the cliff here, one not far from here, from Albufeira in Olhos d'Água, collapsed in a place where people they used to walk. But fortunately, it was during the night, so nobody got injured or even worse. But as a tour guide who visit a lot these rock formation, because of course they are popular, and my guests they love to go to visit. For instance, Ponta de Piedade, or Algar Seco, Praia da Marinha. And then I see things that sometimes it scare me a lot, because I see lots of people walking very close to the edge, people taking nice photos at Marinha Beach. They walk around the cliffs where the rocks they fell 5, 10, 20 years ago. Sometimes they are very close to the cliff. Sometimes they are under the warning signs that says stay away from the cliff, and people they don't I mean, this is our human nature. We never think that something so bad that can happen to us, but when it happens we have no chance at all, and this is gonna happen for sure. We're gonna have some kind of a tragedy here one day, because it's gonna happen. And why? Because we have lots of people visiting the caves every single day. Thousands of people, they go under the caves to visit the caves. Of course, I understand the appealing. It's so beautiful going there, but it scared me a lot. I'm not that kind of guy. I can deal with lots of stuff, but people, they don't see me many times visiting these caves and going too close to the falls, because I'm aware.
Let me just interrupt you about one thing, and sorry to interrupt you. We well are concerned about this, but the worst thing that can happen, okay, it's to be well constantly taking people to some of these locations as a business, okay, and something to happen. So we are concerned not just for us but for them. So when we tell people, well, I wouldn't recommend this, or I would recommend that, or I really don't advise to do this or that, it's not because we just want to kind of, spoil the fun, okay? We are
Yeah.
really
Of course
concerned
not.
about people's safety because we end up, in the end, being responsible for it. So, and that's why we always, warn about a few things. And when people say, "No, this is okay, nothing will go wrong," sometimes things go wrong. Okay, so when we talk so much, and the subject of safety, it's quite recurrent, and sometimes some people feel that we get some we worry too much. Well, it's not so much because of us; it's because of them. So
Yeah.
that's my point.
Well, and we certainly we are a bit different. We would just think about making money, create the hype, and taking people here and there, and it would be very easy to become a
That would be
popular
easy.
influencer. But this is not what we are strive for, right? I'm not. So I'm very aware that I can't please everyone. And when I talk about safety reasons, I mean, I have to say this because I want to sleep well. I have my consciousness, and
Mhm.
if I don't warn people that please don't get too close to the edge because the cliff could fall. Oh, but the cliff, it's been here for ages, but it will fall one day. It could be exactly now because it's wet. We had
Yeah.
earthquakes here and there. Even a week ago, we had another small quake.
Mhm.
Lots of rain, lots of storms. For instance, today we had these very high tides, very strong, with these strong winds coming from eastern, so the winds of Levante, and all this creates it boosts the danger, and this can happen, especially now in winter. So even 2 days ago, I went to visit Farragudo and Carvoeiro, and sometimes people they ask me, so but Gabriel, I see people walking there and here and there. Sometimes bad thing happens. Yes, bad thing happens. 2 3 days ago, someone died in Madeira. Here in the Algarve too, last year, I remember a Russian guy just fell from the cliff at Ponta da Piedade. And sometimes we don't even know about it because the authorities sometimes the things they are a bit covered up. They don't go on the news, or maybe people didn't see it. Yesterday, three guys they were saved from the ocean in Praia da Rocha. And why? Because the ocean it wasn't. There are no lifeguards. The ocean it was choppy to say the least, so it was really danger. And these three guys they went there to swim because they think they are in some kind of a pool, in some indoor pool somewhere. I mean, so I can't stop myself to say what I think. And if people they don't like to hear, they can tune other influencers, because there are so many guys out there that they sell the perfection
Oh
and
yeah.
all these hypes that I can't understand. Um, just let me finish
Please.
here, Lionel. Pedro Romão, yes, Pedro Romão, you said something. You wrote something really nice. That's why we are having now boardwalks. But people they go away. They jump from the boardwalks. I mean, I even understand because 2 3 days ago I've made a video at Ponta da Piedade, and Jesus, from the boardwalks, you don't see the best angles. You miss a lot. So I understand people walking out of the boardwalks, but we still have to be in mind. We have to be in mind that walking close to the cliffs or under the caves or going to empty coves at low tide and just sleeping there waiting for the tide to come, we need to be aware that we might be in danger. Just like when we go to visit the lions and in the gazelles at the Serengeti, we can't just walk there to take photos. We have to be very, very careful. Guys, go ahead.
Well, Sergio, what do you have to add?
You've guys been talking a little bit nonstop, and some of the things definitely
Oh
resonate
man,
with me.
this creates. I became excited, so then it's
Yeah.
hard to slow down. Sorry.
No, but I have some similar stories to share. For me, for example, the ones that are some cautionary tales. I believe it was 2 years ago, some customers that I brought to Óbidos, and it was a very nice summer day, very hot. The floor was completely dry, and I had just finished telling my customers, the persons I was with, well, be careful with your steps over here, because the stone has been walked very frequently, and so it's now polished. And
Yeah.
even on dry days, it's actually extremely slippery. As soon as I
Yes.
finish saying this, the lady that I was with, she just slips and falls on his on her behind. So yeah, even on what apparently is a very beautiful day, these things happen. And just in January, it had just rained. I chose not to take some customers to do the walk on the top of the wall, precisely because I knew that if on a dry day it's already dangerous, God knows how it's going to be on a wet day. And the wall, for people who know, and for people who don't know, well, it doesn't have a railing.
Mm-hmm.
So at some places, you're actually falling down something like almost 15, 20 feet. So roughly 3.5 to 5 meters. So it's
Big fall.
gonna cause yeah, it's gonna cause you some harm, definitely. So these are just some examples. And good weather, bad weather, doesn't matter. One should always exercise caution and just be aware of the location, your surroundings, how you're feeling, watch your steps. A few years ago, there was a running joke regarding what shoes we should wear in
Mm-hmm.
Portugal. And
Mm-hmm.
I've always told people, well, unless you are going for just that one specific event, like a dinner or something like that, 99.9% of the time, sneakers is the answer over here in Portugal. So
Yeah.
it's comfortable, it's lightweight, it's grippy. You're going to be walking a whole lot while you're here in the country. And so this is what you should do, what you should wear. On the topic of landslides, rock slides, these also happen at the valley, and especially when we have very rainy and more specifically windy seasons, not so much as rainy anymore. I find that the wind is actually causing more damage at the valley than the rain is, because the wind is shaking the trees, is shaking the vines, and the roots they go deep. And with the wind, that actually sort of shakes the roots of the trees as well, and that releases some stones, releases some ground, and then it just happens that well, we do have it's very frequently to have rock slides, landslides, mudslides over there at the valley, and more often than not, some roads have to be closed sometimes for hours, sometimes even for days until the teams go out there and clear all of those debris.
I I
So
I remember the road from Sabrosa to Pinhão. I think it was like 2018 or so before they did all of that big renovation. It was quite tough over there. So all the landslides over there on that
yeah.
roads, it was quite tough.
Yeah, roads on the northern bank of the Douro Valley, which tend to be quite a bit more curvy, they are a little bit more challenging. And for people who like to drive themselves, well, be aware because these rock slides, they also happen during the summer. I like to call them the dry rock slides because it hasn't been raining for months
Hmm.
sometimes, but because of the nature of the valley, because of the geology over there, the water seeps in the ground, and then when it warms up, it expands and it causes the cracks to expand, and that's when we have rock slides happening, even with dry weather.
Oh.
So it can be challenging, and it's very common during the winter. Not so common during the summer, but it still happens. And sometimes on one side of the river, you have the road, the National 222. On the other side of the river, you have the train tracks. We had examples of train interruptions and disruption to train service, precisely because we had rock slides over there at the valley, and the rocks they landed on the train tracks. So that takes quite a bit of time to clear up as well. A few other safety recommendations. Well, these are some of the weather-related recommendations, and I think that these are pretty much straightforward for anyone visiting, no matter where in the country. Obviously, there's gonna be something that is unpredictable. Like for example, just this week, just a couple of days ago, we had a very unfortunate event happening in Thailand, in Myanmar, and they
Hmm.
had a massive earthquake over there. I think that everybody saw the footage already of those big skyscrapers with the rooftop pools just overflowing and
I saw that.
whatnot. It was a big disaster, and I hope everyone over there is okay. But yeah, these are some unpredictable things. But for the things that you can predict and manage, there's
Mhm.
always some steps, some risk mitigation that you can do preparing for your trip. evaluate yourself, evaluate the conditions. Are you in good shape to go out and do this tour, this excursion? Are you feeling less good? Is it going to be a relaxing day? Is it going to be a more active day? Where you're gonna go, what you're gonna do, where you're gonna pass? Is it easy accessible or not? Things like that. Questions that you should ask yourself. One story that I always remember, I actually had a friend. Quite a few years ago, he was working in the paramedics, and he says that the number one event where they were always out and about to rushing people to the ambulances and to the hospital and whatnot was during the big San Silvestre half marathon race over here in Porto, because it's a big event in the city. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
likes that one. And usually it's a gathering of friends who haven't seen each other in a couple of years. They decide, well, we're going to be in town for this event. Well, might as well just participate in the race. And they haven't been on the road. They haven't done any exercise in the last 10, 15 years or so. So they didn't evaluate their physical condition, even though they were athletes in the past. They didn't quite evaluate their physical condition. The night before, they went out for a big dinner. They had a Francesinha or something like that and chugged down a few beers. And then the next day, that's the demographic that you're seeing more frequently in the hospitals, because they didn't do a proper self-evaluation of their physical condition. So these are some of the stories that are also somewhat relatable. We have to evaluate, for example, when you're going on a Douro Valley tour, is it going to be a hiking tour or is it going to be something more sightseeing and tasting?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not used to hiking and then you heard that you should do the Douro Valley as a hiking experience, well, the changes in
Yeah.
elevation alone are going to knock you out, basically.
You know,
And
you now just reminded me something that I was calculating a couple of hours ago. When people go to Sintra and they want to see Pena Palace, Moorish Castle, and Quinta da Regaleira, um, if done properly, they will walk 8 kilometers roughly that day, and it's not flat. Okay,
yeah,
so when
Yeah.
people want to see everything, well, halfway they cannot make it, most of them, or well, the next day won't be nice for them because the body will just complain about all of that unplanned physical exercise. Okay, just to visit the Moorish Castle, by example, most people halfway they can't make it, or at the end they are just completely exhausted because it's impossible for them to do that because they lack preparation. But you just brought a very interesting approach. The physical preparation before the activities and the tours. It's quite something to
yeah,
take
it's
care of.
Right.
relevant.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
relevant. We usually say that we prepare the summer bodies during the winter, and this is true. And preparing a summer body is not just for the looks; it's also for the fitness aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And a person that is a bit more active, a bit more fit, can sometimes better enjoy these experiences, because I used to be a swimmer, and my coaches, they all used to say, you're not going to do on the weekends, meaning on the competitions, what you're not doing on
Mm-hmm.
during the training
Mm-hmm.
sessions. So if you're not doing it on the training sessions, don't expect to arrive to the competition and be able to do it. Obviously, there's the mental factor that plays a role in a little bit of a role, but it's true. If you're not used to doing it on a regular basis, if you haven't trained for it, don't expect to go to a place. And if you're used to walking 1 or 2 miles per day, that's already very good. Don't expect all of a sudden to be able to come to Portugal and walk 15 miles on a single day on uneven terrain with lots of elevation changes. So this is
And with cobblestone.
yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. So there's plenty of things to take into consideration. More often over here, you've heard us talk about safety precautions and security and whatnot related to the locations, but we often forget to talk about the safety that is ourselves, and the things that we can do to prepare ourselves for such a trip. For example, you wouldn't go running the Boston Marathon, you wouldn't go doing a Appalachian Trail if you haven't had a minimum of preparation
Mm-hmm.
and a minimum of information to do it. And so approaching the tours, it's very similar. And obviously, there are strategies that you can use to mitigate that. For example, if you have one very active day, follow it up with 1 or 2 resting days, something like that. This is the reason why it's very good to have open days in your calendar, in your schedule, because you could be pushing yourself a little bit harder than what you're expecting on a given day, and probably that open day that you have, you probably will want to take it slow. And if you have all days completely packed, you're gonna feel quite a bit frustrated. So the mental aspect also counts a lot on this, and frustration can put a damper on your mood and on your experience over here. So plan
You know,
ahead.
I usually say this, and I walked. Well, and I'm gonna pick it up again. I walked towards Pena Palace hundreds of times. I walked up that ramp, and even that I'm not the fittest person, I saw a lot of people halfway, totally exhausted, and in a very hard effort to accomplish that.
Yep.
And when I'm walking up, um, it's hard to see someone very happy walking down. So that means that probably, the experience wasn't so great. One of the factors might have been, in fact, that they got to the top totally exhausted and probably had some hard time enjoying it because it was tough to go there. And I released a video recently that pretty much talks about how to move around over there. And I really made, my point to show the ramp walking up, even though in the video you don't understand how steep it is. But I really made my point to show that. And in fact, it's take no mistake, some places are not easy to deal with. And Sintra, it's not one of the easiest places to deal with. And just with the incline, just with the walks up and down, some people can really get halfway and not to be able to make it. And it's always better to on a safety measure to try to assess, in fact, am I able to do this or not? And what I feel it's that a lot of people don't assess that, and a lot of people think that going to those places it's like going to to a mall or to an attraction that you have a big parking lot nearby and it's all just pretty much flat to go, because they are used to that kind of experiences a little bit everywhere. But then our reality is different. We are a country with thousands of years of history. We are a country where things were not built to be accessible, okay? And things were built sometimes to be, tougher and harder to get there. So nowadays, to keep
Purposely inaccessible for defensive purposes.
exactly, okay. And to preserve those places, we cannot have like a cable car or whatever just going up to the place. So people will need to walk, and that's what I was mentioning. Okay, to visit some of the three most popular attractions in Sintra, it's easy to do 8 kilometers in one day. Okay, and even for me that I've done that plenty of times, it will burn me out a little bit, and I'm quite used to that. Okay, so assessing these kind of things, it's very important. And in fact, if the person has some medical issue or physical condition, whatever, it's very easy to be in trouble by not preparing this kind of stuff. So once again, I'm not the fittest person around, but even for me, sometimes it's tough. And I would not commit to do certain kind of things pretty much without assessing really the difficulty. By example, one of the things that it's very popular on your side, Sergio, that I truly believe that there will be plenty of people in trouble halfway, it's the pivot walkways. Okay.
Yep.
The pivot walkways to go one way or to the other, it's not to everybody. So, but there's a big appeal on going and seeing that. So it would be very frustrating to get to a place and really, well, not being able to accomplish it because physically the body says, well, sorry, it's better to stop.
Yeah.
I'm just reading here some of the comments, and now I'm picking up some of the comments. Well, Victor just posted something. Well, I've seen that, unfortunately, at Nazaré, at Azanhas do Mar. Azanhas do Mar, it's constant, okay? At Azanhas do Mar, it's constant, and the drop is not so high as Nazaré. But I remember last year, someone just slipped on the mud because it was a little bit muddy, and it was really, really quite a save for him because he almost fell. He was obviously walking way beyond the wall. In Nazaré, yeah, unfortunately, that happens here and there, but people got used to that. But I usually tell my guests that do not challenge physics because physics always win. Now to the last comments. Well, hi, Thomas. Hydration is key. Totally agree.
Yep.
Okay, hydration is key. Plenty of water available, and also, well, talking about the heat, of course. So we try to have people with a comfortable and nice experience. We want people to enjoy it the most. But well, people need to understand when we tell them that well, this is not well doable, or this is not going to happen because of this or that reason. Our main concern is safety, okay? Because in fact, if something goes wrong, there will be a lot of things affected, sometimes things can go really wrong, and I'm just remembering now a lady that became viral probably 1 month ago or so in Nazaré, and Nazaré has lifeguard station the whole year round exactly because of that. Because as you know, we weren't used to have lifeguards throughout the year. So there was the beach season where the lifeguards would be hired. Nazaré has a full-time lifeguard station, and roughly 1 month ago, a lady became very viral because she was taking pictures near the ocean, and one of the waves that came all over all the others, because this happens, well, she was just seen in a video tumbling, so her and her camera tumbling on the sand, and you just see the image of the lifeguard station and the wave going all the way in. It was a very strong wave to reach all that, but unexpected things happen. I remember there's another video that it's quite viral around. I might search and find it at Cabo Carvoeiro in Peniche. Some people, we see a car, a Mercedes over there, and some people watching the waves. And then there's a big wave that comes over. Some people that are outside of the car, and well, they get hit, and the car gets hit with the wave. And the car was parked on the road where you can really go and drive. But one wave that came over all the others came pretty much all over. So this happens. It's not uncommon, by example, to have on these storms our roads in between Cascais and Lisbon, Marginal, in certain sections closed because the waves can jump the road. So this is
Same thing in Porto with the lighthouse in Foz, for example.
exactly okay. So this
Very
is
beautiful picture, but sometimes people, for wanting to take that picture of the wave
Wow.
crashing onto the
Mhm,
lighthouse, they put themselves in dangerous
exactly.
situations.
So this is not an easy deal, okay? So nature has some very strong wills sometimes, and unexpectedly it will come over. So better be safe than sorry. And if you yeah, free car wash at Ginshu, yes, once in a while as well. But
And I think we just lost Gabriel right now.
yeah, oops. Well,
Yeah, this
yeah, he
is
probably
probably our this
his
is
time
probably
his
our
time is
cue that
his time is over.
yeah.
Okay, he had a timer set. So but yes, just to finish, okay, these things happen, unfortunately. So authorities are on the field. Civil protection is on the field, so they are authority as well. The firefighters are on the field, and they need to be respected. But the tour guides, they've been around for a long time, and when we tell people, well, you shouldn't do that because it's your safety, okay? We know that things can go wrong. And I, well, sometimes people don't understand that, and they look at us like we are the ones spoiling the fun. Well, if someone then, suffers the consequences for some, bad decision, the only thing we can do is to be sorry for it. But, it's the sad truth, okay? So
Yeah, and don't take us wrong, because we've been talking over here to three guys who always
mhm.
advocate safety, legality, insurance, and whatnot. Well, all three of us, we have insurances. It's just that we prefer not to activate them.
Insurances exist to be safe, but to never be used. Okay,
Yep.
and I'm gonna give you an example, and this is just something totally different. Okay, you never want to activate the insurance, but you want to feel comfortable because you have insurance. Okay, one of my vans was hit just a few weeks ago. Well, it's all sorted. In fact, it was sorted much quicker than what I was expecting. Okay, but the bill, it's not so pleasant. Okay, the bill, it's not so pleasant. It was not our fault. So the other driver's insurance is going to pay, but we're just talking about the car insurance. Okay, but the
Hmm.
insurance is, exists for that. But if it would have been, by example, well, our fault, whatever, I would claim that on the insurance, and well, they would fix the car because of the full coverage. Okay, and this goes back to the other subject, and when people ask about the full coverage insurance and whatever on the rental cars, but that's another story. But this is it. Okay, I cannot imagine that the car was totaled, the car was destroyed. If there was no insurance to pay, I had lost a vehicle on the fleet. So this is why insurance exists. Okay, when we have all the personal accidents, injuries, insurances, and I've been claiming about the insured amounts. Okay, I've been claiming about that and increasing them. In what I can. It's exactly because I know. That if something goes wrong, probably the coverage are not enough for if something goes wrong. So we might know how things work, and we just want people to be safe and to be protected. So it's really about that. And I'm now just reading. I'm just reading the comments. Yeah, okay, Gabriel fell from the life. I didn't kick you out. Okay, so you just slipped and fell. I hope you have insurance. And
Yep.
and well, in between the many glasses of excellent Portuguese red wine, we had the River Valley tour with Sergio. Several bottles of water were also highly recommended, of course. Well, there's a Portuguese saying, okay, that you should never deny water to anyone. So, and in fact, water is key. So there's always plenty of water available. But
Yeah,
well, we've
particularly
been
on a
talking.
wine tasting tour, as Thomas knows by now, I always recommend keep hydrated, because there's going to be a whole lot of wine tasting throughout the day, and if you don't drink enough water, that's how you get a hangover a little bit faster.
And do we have Gabriel back? I think
Yeah,
so.
just in time for the goodbyes.
So
Yeah.
you still around here,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, well, we missed you.
Well, I survived. I just got some scratches. I don't know what happened. That's what happens. We don't know exactly the destination, and then sometimes we fell.
Well,
Well, just to finish from my hand. Of course, we talk about this because we are locals. We know this place better, and when we travel to other spots, we also need to be very aware about what happens in those spots. So when we talk about these things and trying to create a drama or something, it's because we know better. We know these places here. So this is my message. Feel free. This is a safety place, of course. You just need to be careful about some common things, and everything it's gonna be well. So guys, I don't know if you have something more to add.
Yep,
no.
that's pretty much it.
Well, so I want to thank you again for a big part of the Unplugged Live. Thank you for everybody who was watching and commenting. I will post it on YouTube like always. So in a few minutes we'll be online on YouTube. And we'll be back next week. The three of us, we will be on the road, posting a few comments here and there,
Yeah.
some content here and there. And any questions you have about traveling to Portugal, feel just free to reach out, to send us a message, or to post on Portugal Unplugged. We will be very happy to help you. And I wish everybody a great journey. I wish everybody a great week. So from my side, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much.
Good
Good
evening and
evening,
have a great
guys.
week.
Good evening, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.